Good morning, students. Today, the topic is process of social change. In previous class, I have already explained what is social change. Once again, I am just explaining you is that the term change itself is wholly neutral, implying nothing but a difference through time in the object to which it is applied. And when we talk of social change, that means the change is so instant, so hard to predict, and so manifold. If we are grasp it at all, seek to discover some kind of order to alter the things. So when we talk about the social processes of social change, the first word which comes that what is process? It is the idea of continuity which is introduced when we refer to a social change as a process. A process means continuous change that is taking place in a different manner through the operation of forces present from the first within the situation. So when we talk about any of the group forces or any of the manner in which the relations of the member of a group once brought together acquire a certain distinctive characteristics. So sociologists are mainly concerned like the social processes like accommodation, integration, disintegration, conflict, and so forth. So, studying a process, what we observe, it is a series of transition between one state of being and to the another. So there is no necessary implication as to relative quality of two states of being or the direction that is followed. So the process can be upward, downward, forward, backward, total integrity or disintegrity. It can be some form of systematic manner. So when we're talking of the social processes of social change, over here, if we say there are three types of processes that we have seen, but for the classical understanding, here I will be explaining you the two types of processes. Social change as an evolutionary process, and the second is social change as a cyclical process. The third process is the multi-dimensional process. But this multi-dimensional process is not having a such systematic, it have some systematic but in a different way. So for the basic understanding, for writing your answer, it will be best that if you concentrate on this two forms of processes. So here comes the social change as evolutionary process. From here you can see that evolutionary. I have already explained what is evolution in the previous class. What is evolutionary process of social change? It is a process that is unilinear. That means it is going to the one direction. Fine. And it moves to the more complexities, from simple to the more complicated life or complicated society, from homogeneous type of living to the heterogeneous type of living. So the idea of evolution is in the other science, especially in the biological science, where Charles Darwin in the middle of the 19th century has given his view regarding the evolution of biological life. Herbert Spencer, he was a leader in this movement. because he's the one who took the idea of Charles Darwin theory of biological evolution and try to understand the society, the present situation of the society, and how it has evolved to this particular stage. So that's why he is known to be as a founder of or the leader of this evolutionary process. When we talk about evolution, the word which literally means as unfold. Fine, that means you can't go back or change it. It will go to a certain stage or phase and it will go in one direction. You can't reverse it or you can't unroll it. So as it is an order of change which is unfolds, so the variety of aspects belong to the nature of changing objects whose potentialities lie within it are made actual. So the change must occur within, and the changing unity as it will manifest or force are operative within it. So when we talk about evolution, it is a systematic process of change which is occur in a very slow process, and the series of transition goes in a very slow process of change, like when we speak the evolution of individual organism, evolution of life, evolution of society, that from ancient society to the civilized society, from depending on the nature to controlling the nature. Fine. That's why evolutionary process is social change is also is mainly started with understanding of evolutionary process. August Comte, he is also the one whose theory falls under the category of evolutionary process, where he has explained that the society passes from theological stage to the metaphysical to the positivist stage. That all the stages, that is, you can't unfold it. That from depending on the supernatural beliefs to the rationality of human mind. That also make a people a change, and that goes through in a one direction and it moves to some greater complexities. That's why social change is started with that it can be a very slow process, and that is known to be as an evolutionary process. Secondly, social change as cyclical process. Cyclical process, that means it is a process where the society goes through a life cycle or span of life that deals with the rise and decay of civilization. As a baby is born and then dying. Fine, but it is like that rise and decay of civilization. Here again something is taking place. It is like that. If I tell you that there was a rise of a civilization and there is a decay of civilization, like in the Indus Valley civilization, and again our Aryan civilization has started, and now we are still living in it. So it is said that the society passes from it goes, the change that happens once and it declines, and then again it will happen, then it will decline. So like the way that we see the day, then we see the night, then the day passes into the years passes into the more years, the Midas cycle of an outer cosmos. So over here, the sociological theorists who believe that the social change is not only in one direction, it is a cyclical process. Those are Pritam Sorokin and Arnold Toynbee. They are the classical sociologists. They explains that the individual organism reveals from birth through to maturity and to decline and death. And there have been many thinkers who have regarded societies and civilization as pursuing a similar course, like them. Sometimes it is applied to the rhythm of successive up and downs that repeats itself without definite beginning or ending, like that of waves, and this pattern, too many thinkers have thought, they discovers in human affairs, in political movements of conservatism, radicalism, in long-range changes of population, in the tides of fashion, in the modes that are by turn more repressive and more free. This rhythmic movement affects the particular phenomena of social life. May it not also be revealed in the society, but it keeps on changing. So we can see that the everything, every part of our life, it keeps on rolling from the creation to the decay, and again there is a new creation. That's why it is said that the peculiar attraction for the interpreter of a social change mainly based in the form of cyclical process. That's why we can see that in every society there is a numerous forms of processes of social change, and this change that we discover that in which movement the whole society is standing unitedly or it keeps changing unitedly. Whether the culture changes, but it also changes in a certain form, in certain space, and in certain form. So how it happened, how we become civilized, and how and in which way that we can say that we are modern, we are not traditional. But still, now we can see that despite of modern thoughts and everything, we see that nowadays a DIY project is coming up. Fine. But in previous times, we see that we used to make the best out of West. We have seen our grandparents and all that. Not to throw the things, we can utilize it for the other purposes. So the same thing is over here. Fine. It's some form of change that is occurring or happening. And it is some form of cyclical process that we have been seeing. That's why it is said that social change is a cyclical process. Thank you.